So far, we've had a look at what is happening in Saskatoon and Regina. To bring us up to date on what is going on here in Winnipeg, we turn to Joanne Bennison.
It's 4:30 Friday afternoon at Portage in Maine. Rush hour traffic is well underway as the stockbrokers, bankers, executives, and office workers leave the high-rise towers that cluster around Winnipeg's most famous intersection. Friday afternoon traffic is picking up a few blocks away at the hotels, bars, and pawn shops of North Maine. This is all part of the core area of Winnipeg, 10 square miles in the heart of the city, from North Main to the new $200 million mall development on Portage Avenue, from ethnic working-class neighborhoods to the trendy yuppiedom of Osborne Village. But like most other major cities in the late 70s, the downtown core was facing serious problems.
Core area 1980. Housing in poor repair. In fact, up to 40% of the housing was considered to be in poor condition. Large number of immigrants moving into the inner city with no jobs, no place to work. Large number of native people moving in from reserves with no place to work. An aging population, high unemployment, but still, in spite of all that, I think a pretty vital place, a place that had a lot of potential.
In 1981, the federal and provincial governments and the city of Winnipeg agreed to spend $96 million to revitalize the core area. They wanted to tap into that potential.
And so the Core Area Initiative was born, a unique and innovative approach to dealing with urban issues. This program is different from any other in North America. It's the first time 3 levels of government have sat down together to work on a specific problem. And it's also the first time that the physical environment was to be improved while they tried to deal with social issues.
Between 1981 to 1986, $14.7 million helped educate, train, and employ over 1,000 people. $31.9 million was spent to improve inner-city neighborhoods. $43.8 million went to develop key areas to promote economic growth.
You can see how large this dynasty building ended up becoming, and it was because there was quite an interest in taking up the space there.
The people on this bus are involved with some of the different community groups which have received core funding. The tour is designed to give them an overview of the project. It takes well over an hour and barely scratches the surface. These are the tangible results of core dollars at work. Renovated historic buildings in the Exchange District, community centers and housing co-ops in Chinatown and other areas, renovated storefronts and neighborhood main streets, thousands of homes that have been renovated and built for low-income families. The government's original $96 million investment has spurred an additional $300 million in spending from the private sector. Some see this as a key success.
Well, I think in some ways the most notable success was getting 3 levels of government working together in a common project and using it as a way of generating a lot of private investment and capital. If you look at north of Portage, which was part of the core area, when I first proposed the idea, people laughed at it. But for an investment of $30 million that the federal government put in, we've generated $450 million worth of private capital. Not a bad return.
As a federal minister in 1981, Lloyd Axworthy played a key role in getting the Core Area Initiative off the ground. He's pleased with the accomplishments in the first 5 years, but has concerns about the second stage. In 1986, the 3 levels of government agreed to spend another $100 million for Core 2. But some feel there's too much emphasis now on physical improvements.
I think the new phase, where it's really talking about further building development at the Forks and other places, is going away from the original idea, which was that it had to be a combination of urban redevelopment in a physical sense, but far more important in terms of giving people training, employment, jobs, better education, a sense of their own individual renewal. And I think it's now reverting back to an old traditional urban renewal idea, that if you change bricks and mortars, you'll get something. I think you've got to help change the people.
Area in the sense that the problems are so massive that the solutions tend to be piecemeal and non-permanent.
It's difficult to evaluate something like the Core Area Initiative. How do you measure the impact social programs have had on the quality of life? Well, over 1,000 people have received training. Hundreds have found permanent jobs as a result of core funding. Millions of dollars have gone towards community groups and things like daycare and counseling. All vitally important, but all very difficult to measure in economic terms. It's easier to look at a building and say this is what core dollars have done. In that respect, the initiative has been very successful. The $196 million the government spent has resulted in hundreds of millions of dollars more in investment from the private sector. It's also resulted in a new enthusiasm and vitality in the downtown and core area. The Core Area Initiative will expire in 1991. Perhaps by that time, Winnipeg will be in a better position to assess just how successful the initiative has been. For EyesWest,